And we're live recording. Ladies, welcome. Thank you very much for jumping on. This is episode 3 of Honest Hyrox Chats. And as the name suggests, we are trying to have some really frank, unfiltered conversations about what it's really like to follow a program, have PE as a priority in your life, and get a real good sense for what it's like for non-full-time athletes to do pretty sick stuff in the context of things like Hyrox, even though they've got loads of other things going on in life. What strategies are you using? What programs are you following? What communities you've got yourself involved in to have lots of PE fun whilst also having full-time jobs and the rest of it that happens in life. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Should we do a quick intro? Tia, do you want to go first? Who are you? Where are you from? You've just moved recently.
Yeah, so I'm Tia, originally from near Nottingham, had been living in Manchester where I met Cos, and have just moved to Cardiff for a new job. So I'm now a lecturer at a university.
Exciting stuff, and we'll come back to that in just a minute. I've got you both on together, not only because you're two peas in a pod and I can't separate you, but also because you're doing a doubles Hyrox. So Cos, do you want to say a little intro too?
Hello, yeah, I'm Coralie, or Cos, as most people know me by. I am from Dorset originally, but I've been in Manchester about 10 years, and this will be our third Hyrox.
Yeah, third together.
Third together.
Yeah, no, second together. Hang on, now you're confusing me.
Yeah, no, you're right.
We'll come back to that.
Our third Hyrox.
Outside of training, I run my own business, so yeah, life's busy, but that's how I like it.
There we go. And again, we'll come back to that in just a minute. So yeah, let's iron that out. So you've done 3 each, 3 Hyrox each.
Yes. No, I've done 3.
I've done 2.
You've done 2, and the 2 that you've done, Cos, are they both together?
1 solo, 1 doubles.
There we go. Okay. And are we pro or open division?
We're a bit of a mix, aren't we? We did pro together, our first pro. We're open for Birmingham, and then pro for London and pro for Manchester.
Yeah, we just booked Birmingham too soon, I think, and then regretted our choice and thought we should have gone pro.
Yeah.
Need a backup for Birmingham. Okay, cool. So we've got a busy schedule ahead then. And I guess for context for everybody else, so you came to one of our webinars for Birmingham. Yeah.
I think it was London.
Was it London? London.
Yeah.
You were the first ones to win one of our coaching packages. So you've been on program with me for, Christ, feels like forever. It's been exciting, hasn't it? What, 3 months now? A while.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, about 3 months. So yeah, part of the hybrid team. We are headed to Birmingham, and then, as you said, afterwards we've got London, and then next year Manchester. So it's been going well so far.
Yeah, really enjoyed it.
We have had you following a similar structure to our normal group programs, but caught up pretty regularly throughout the week, making sure that we're kind of on the right track. Having done Hyrox before and joining the program, was there anything you both wanted to focus on, or anything that you wanted to get out of a program when you first joined it?
I think probably for both of us, the running aspect, like we probably avoided running or just did runs. We didn't like vary it. There was none of the like tempos, no hill sprints, no slow long runs. We didn't really like, both of us were pretty against running, I guess. Didn't know what we were doing with it, so probably just like step back from it. I mean, that's why we signed up to the half marathon in the first place, to force us to run. But yeah, we definitely didn't structure anything with the running like this before. So I think I've seen huge improvements with that.
Yeah, and I think just the structure in general. I think when I first heard of Hyrox and signed up to a race, I was just dipping in and out of different classes. I was following things on Instagram. I was just like doing random workouts and trying to figure out the movements myself. So it was very much like trying to build a community and get into it. And I really enjoyed it, but that only gets you so far. And I said this a while ago, like, it's very taxing when you train like that, because you're constantly thinking you're doing like mini sims and you're doing loads of HIIT stuff, which means you're knackered, you need more rest. I could just slept for days, and you're also more prone to injury. And stripping a lot of that back and focusing more on the strength fundamentals and the running has been an absolute game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Completely
good point.
agree.
Good point on the running. So should we give a bit of background to people listening then? So Tia, what's your PE background? Have you always done sport? You weren't a runner, I'm guessing, before Hyrox?
Never been a runner. So I did gymnastics and springboard diving very competitively as a child. Retired, went to uni, took a massive back step on any sort of sport. Initially, at one point I was living in Shrewsbury, and I joined a gym there just for the social aspect. Wasn't taking it seriously. Moved to Manchester, got tricked into signing up for a Hyrox. Did not know it had running in when I agreed to do it, which was a huge shock when I then looked at it. And then, yeah, it just all spiraled from there, really.
What a bizarre sentence to say at your age, that you retired from a sport. But you do, I guess, when you're super competitive, high level at sport. How old were you when you retired from diving?
I was 18.
Oh, okay. Retired because of injury, or
wanted to go to the Olympics, didn't make it in 2012, and decided that another 4 years was a long time, and that I wanted to then focus on my future in terms of a career, and that it wasn't worth the risk and the
Fair enough.
demands.
Big commitment, that, isn't it? 4 year cycles. Big. Cos, what about you? Background, PE wise?
So nothing really. I did sod all until I was about 20. I hated PE, hated exercise, wasn't in any particular shape, physically anything. And then slowly got into weightlifting whilst I was at uni. The toxic 2000s diet culture. So it wasn't the most healthiest way to get into it, but then I fell into more kind of weightlifting and fueling myself, etc. And it just kind of developed from there. And I was very much a static weightlifting gal until Hyrox came along. And I thought, that looks fun. I'm a bit bored of standing still lifting the same weight. So let's try something different. And I also kind of got tricked into it because I got invited to partner up for a mini event, did one training session, hated it, but also loved it, then got addicted. And I'm in it now.
I feel like that sums up most people's outlook on Hyrox or functional fitness training. Just love to hate the fun, the pain. Cool. So yeah, we've got varying backgrounds there, but as you both kind of alluded to, not a huge amount of running necessarily, or like proper HIIT training. Now we've both got you running, which we're going to dive into a little bit because there's some fun stories there, particularly around zone 2 training and very long WhatsApp messages. How, just again, a little bit more context then. So Tia, you mentioned you recently moved. We've got a new job and a new life. So that must have been relatively stressful to manage, let alone training alongside it. How has that been? What does that look like just in general, so people have got an idea?
So it feels like it's been chaos. Absolutely loving the new job, which helps. But it was a real quick turnaround from accepting the job for them wanting me to start within 2 months' time. Whilst I had a trip to Germany booked and various other things. So it all moved so quick. And then finding a new gym and settling into a new routine. So I'd previously been doing a PhD, which I'm still finishing, but I was managing my time working from home. To then need to be somewhere at set times was difficult. To then fit things around, I couldn't faff in the morning anymore. I couldn't stand around and talk to people at the end of a gym session because I actually had to get back, shower, and get to work. And I've adjusted now, but it didn't feel like it was going to happen at one point. I was stressing.
What's normal work schedule look like now then? It's like time-wise, are you 9 to 5?
It's typically 9 till 5, with a bit of flexibility around it. So I can work from home if I'm not lecturing, but if I obviously can't lecture from home, so I have to be in person and one-to-one meetings with students around dissertations and things like that.
Makes sense. And then, because you're slightly different, run your own business. Do you want to just elaborate on that a little bit?
Yes, so I've got a social media business. I work a mix of from home, from clients, from different locations. I do manage my own time, but I largely work on a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday basis because I quite like the routine. So I am a morning person anyway. So I have just maintained kind of, I'm up at 5:30. I'm in the gym by at 6. I'm home for about 8, and my weekends vary, but it's not too hard to kind of fit in a long run somewhere around that time. So but yeah, a little bit of flexibility, but I find that if I don't get it done in the morning, I struggle to get myself away from the business. I think it's more guilt than anything else.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you've got loads of could have loads of freedom, but actually you choose to follow a bit of a routine. Is that just the accountability thing?
I think it's probably old habits die hard, because I've been ingrained in kind of the 9 to 5 employee lifestyle for so long. And when we started the business, I'm always called the boss between me and my business partner, and I was like, no, we're here at 9 o'clock every day, because we didn't want to quickly get out of the routine of turning up, especially when you're starting. So I think it's good to have those habits in place, and then we've got clients and stuff we speak to, so I couldn't just work through the night and sleep through the day and stuff anyway.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, I enjoy it, but I should probably make better use of like a quiet gym and a lunchtime run and things.
Yeah. So you typically train first thing in the morning?
Yeah.
Cool. Similar for you, Tia, or are you different?
Yeah, 6 a.m. I'm definitely a morning person. I wake up at 5 without an alarm. And come the end of the day, like after a long day of work, I don't want to go to the gym. So I like to get it done. It gives me more energy in the morning, I find. So also like in previous jobs where potentially going through rough patches, things being a bit tough, it definitely helped me mentally to like it put me in a better mood to start the day, and I just felt more ready. So stuck with that since.
Yes, it's a bit of a sense of achievement before 6:30 a.m. that you've already done some training or you're in the gym and making a positive decision to start the day, which is cool.
Yeah, I always think if you can stand up with something really heavy on your shoulders at 6 a.m, you can deal whatever comes your way during the day.
I couldn't think of anything worse than training at 6 a.m. But if it works for you, fantastic. I coach that early and I still can't get my head around how people do PE that early. But anyway, that routine must help though, as you said. And then you kind of alluded to weekends being the long run day. Have you always trained at a weekend, or just because I've been putting runs in at the weekend? Or is that something you knew you've had
I just love training anyway.
I've always trained. I just like exercise. So I think that's one of the things the programs help me with as well, is it's keeping me to a set structure rather than me just being like, oh, there's a class here and I could do this and let's do everything. Which
and Tia really did everything. She was a nightmare. She was doing a million different sports and disciplines and jumping in and out of different classes, and I would just say, when was your last day off? Because I love a rest day, and I know the benefits of it, but she's a nightmare. It's like you have to tie her up and like lock her in her house.
Tie her up.
Yeah.
Like a little dog, you have to take her a really long walk in the morning, otherwise she'll just be full of energy.
That's true.
That's right. So in our webinar that we run, we talk about this concept of completing something or competing at it. And the idea around that concept is, if you are trying to compete, i.e. you're trying to be the best at something or the absolute best you possibly can, you are in effect prioritizing that above almost everything else. So you're very willing to sort of say no to social things. It is the first thing on your agenda every day. You will do absolutely anything possible to compete. The opposite end is just getting around. So you're kind of doing the minimum effective dose of things because you just want to go and have fun. You want to get around with a smile on your face, be confident enough to do that, but you're not too fussed about giving up everything else for the sake of a few seconds in a Hyrox race. Where do you guys sit on that continuum? Are you complete, somewhere in the middle? Are you both the same? That's probably a good question to start with. Cos, do you want to go?
I would say I am in the middle, but leaning towards compete.
Okay.
Because anything I commit to, I want to commit to it fully. But I also, I signed up to Hyrox because I like the training. So I like the pursuit of. That's where I get my fulfillment, rather than on the day. If we just missed our target time or something, I don't actually care. But getting myself to the start line and really enjoying that process is where I really get my fulfillment from.
Yeah.
But I do like competing, but more against myself.
Mm-hmm. Tia, what about you?
So probably the same, but probably slightly bit more edging towards compete. But being with Coralie and Hyrox has massively helped me, because I think from my like previous sporting background, I can put a lot of pressure on myself, be very harsh on myself. So if I'm with somebody that's focused more towards compete, like at that end, I'll adopt that. And it can be really detrimental for me. Like there was a time where I had an absolute meltdown because I thought that I wasn't doing well at it, and I was putting so much pressure on myself, and then had a chat with people and was like, to what point? Because we're doing this to enjoy it. And if it's turning to that, like we need to reassess like frame of mind on it. And yeah, like Coralie's massively helpful with that.
Yeah, that must be really hard coming from the level of compete that you were before. Like going to the Olympics, you are, I would assume, firmly on the compete side of things. Like there's not much room for leeway or freedom when you're trying to compete at that level. So getting out of that mindset must be really difficult, even just a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's been one of the things. Like it's fallen back to like gymnastics is a notoriously tough sport to train in, and I didn't realize how much of an effect that it's actually had on me until reflecting on it as an adult, because it's sort of something I pushed away, didn't think about, didn't realize until then. I saw those traits at this age and was like, what are you doing? Like, stop that.
Cool.
The trauma is real.
And gymnastics and diving, my perception of them both, they're quite individual sports.
Yeah, they are massively so.
And then Coralie came along, and now you're doing doubles in Hyrox, which, to be fair, is probably the faster growing of the divisions, solo and doubles. How have you found it having Coralie there? How have you found it relying on someone else to compete or complete at the same sort of level as you? It must have been interesting.
Yeah, it's really easy with Coralie because she's so dependable. Like I don't have to worry. I know she's doing all the training. She's really committed to like anything she takes on, so that's great. And Coralie's a stronger runner than me, so it forces me to commit to the runs as well, because I don't want to let her down. As much as I know, like she's not going to be annoyed with me, but I'll be annoyed with me if I haven't tried my best. If I don't hit a target and I've tried my best, fine. But
yeah, nice.
If I've been like sacking it off, then rightly so, I should be annoyed with myself. But
yeah, for sure. And Cos, you said earlier you've done individual and doubles. So how have you found the difference between the two?
So I think the mistake I made was I did a solo first, which was obviously harder than a doubles. And everyone at the time was like, why have you done that? But I didn't understand. I didn't understand the different categories or anything. I just got told that these tickets were out and I should get one before they sell out. So I did. I didn't have any mates doing Hyrox at the time. But I actually really enjoyed solo, and it's a completely different game because it's just you've no one else to rely on. You have to really dig deep, and for me there's always a part of me like just quit, just don't do it, like you can't do it, or you don't have to do it, and like run away. But so it's for me like a mental game of pushing through that. So for that element, I love solo, but it's harder. And then I did doubles. And I was like, oh my God, this is so much more fun. Yeah, you can actually laugh and like share the pain with someone, and obviously share the work. It's a completely different game, and I really enjoyed doubles more than I thought I was going to. No offense to you. Yeah, and we just had, and it was I think it was our first pro as well. So we turned up thinking we're just going to have a laugh. Like we're just going to Glasgow for a nice weekend, see what it's like. And actually we got a pretty decent time. and we enjoyed it, and we were still laughing at the end and making stupid jokes. And yeah.
For context as well, we didn't intend to sign up as pro, but Open had sold out, so we were like, let's go for it.
Let's just go for it. What's the worst that could happen? Just do a bit of walking. Yeah, that was an interesting point, because I guess it's different personality types, isn't it? If you're comfortable having somebody else somewhat depend on you, being accountable for yourself, turning up, doing the training, turning up at race day, capable of keeping up or like putting in a good effort, doubles is probably a really good entry point. If that freaks you out and someone else, again, like somewhat being reliant on you, probably solo is a good entry point.
True.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and I do think I would put a lot of pressure on myself if I knew someone was out there training like 2+ hours a day for it. I think I would end up going under. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, so we're in a little WhatsApp group, right, the three of us, where we're just chatting away about, well, training and other stuff as well. But it's become very apparent that you both lean on each other a bit as a bit of accountability, motivation to big each other up when you do something really good. You're obviously good friends anyway, but from a observer's perspective, that seems to be really helping you both through the weeks and like keeping consistent with your training.
Yeah,
completely agree.
Yeah, definitely. And then, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I like a bit of accountability, because both of us would never want to let someone else down. So put us together and we'll just do whatever you tell us to.
I'm really good at following rules.
You are, and that leads really nicely onto the running and zone 2 chat. So talking about following a program, just in general, actually, to start with, how have you found following a structured program and being told what to do? It seems like you both respond really well to that and kind of like the fact that you've just got something that you can follow. But yeah, how's that been for you both?
I love it because it's the only place in my life where I don't have to make any decisions. And nice. I don't think I've realized that was why I've enjoyed it so much. But it's so nice to turn up and to put my trust in something else. And I'm quite a critical person, and I have to kind of own that, because I will question most things that I'm told to do. Not that I always know best, but it's really nice to look at something and go, yeah, I get that, and that all makes sense, and then to trust the process and see the benefits and it all paying off, and not think I could have done that better, because there's no way I could have programmed that better. So it's really nice just to see it all come together and understand each element enough, and without just burning us out as well.
Similar for you, Tia?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely the same. And like, again, having those rest days structured so that because it says rest, I will rest even if I don't want to. But yeah, like it's been so helpful to I found it really beneficial as well with moving, because I think that was one of my fears, that I'd moved to a different country actually, but and everything would fall under. But I had this knowledge that I've got this program. Me and Coralie are still doing the same thing, even though we're no longer doing it together, because we had been doing the whole program like in person together before. That it took away one of the fears, because I was like, right, just continue doing that. You know what you're doing. You can crack on with it. Like, that's one thing you don't have to sort out and think about, because it's done for you. So that really helped with the move. And
yeah, it's a big stress, isn't it? I guess off of your plate. You've not got to not only get to the gym and have the motivation with everything else going on to go to the gym in the first place, but when you get there, you're just opening your phone and doing what it says, as opposed to then thinking about, oh, what should I do today? Don't really feel great. Maybe I'll just sit on a bike or walk on a treadmill for a minute.
Yeah, and I think as well, there's so many different programs, workouts, styles of people training for Hyrox with different backgrounds. It's really easy to second guess yourself when you're doing it for yourself, because you don't know in that moment whether what you're doing is the best way to get you to where you need to be. And it's really easy, I think anyway, to go through a couple of weeks, not see any changes, then look at someone else and what they're doing, even though they're 10 steps ahead, and then go, I think I should be doing that, and then jump to that one, and then you're on stage 1 of that, and then 2 weeks later you're thinking, I don't really know if that's right, and then you see someone else, and before you know it, you're just going around in circles.
It is, yeah. You're the hardest part of being a coach is getting someone through the first probably 4 to 6 weeks of a program and building, I guess, a relationship where you can just be open. I was going to say trust there, but that comes with an open relationship, because I think it's fair to say, hopefully, that in the first few weeks, we had a lot more conversations where I was explaining what we were doing and why we were doing it to you both. Again, like that process is just you guys trusting in what you're seeing and what you're having to do. Like I've alluded to the Zone 2 chat a few times, so I'll elaborate on it now. So there's a lot at the beginning when you're so far out of the Hyrox. There's a lot of slow and steady stuff, which is horrendously boring. Most people aren't used to it unless you come from a running background, of course. And for both of you, that seemed like a really tough thing to just get your head around. And again, like invest in and trust as a process, because it is, again, laborious. It takes a bit of time. But as the weeks have gone on, we've had less and less convincing and more of you guys just being confident that that's the case.
Yeah.
But that trust takes time, right? As I said, 4 to 6 weeks is the like nail biting point as a coach, because I can see that you're making progress. And I can see that your times are getting better, your heart rate zones are becoming more like in tune and refined, but that's really hard to convince you of. So what's that been like from the start to now? Like, you don't need to big me up, but like trusting in a process, I guess is what we're getting at.
Yeah, to start with, I could not wrap my head around Zone 2 running because for me, my heart rate is so high, drives me insane, but that meant me practically walking. Like I was on a treadmill, like jogging, but at a speed that I could actually walk at. And I was like, surely this isn't doing anything to help me, because I don't feel like I'm gaining anything. It's boring. I look ridiculous. Like, what am I doing? And I'm so glad I stuck with it, because I know, yes, I did send messages in the WhatsApp group like, what is this? But yeah, it definitely has its place. And the only way to find that out was to stick with it.
Yeah, and look at you now. Because I guess we've had check-ins throughout, right? Or times where you've been like, wow, I'm actually getting better at running, or I feel more confident, or I feel more comfortable. Has there been any light bulb moments along that process? Any like particular runs or?
I mean, I guess the fact that I've actually managed to do a half marathon, which is something I never thought I would ever be able to do, like got through it uninjured, no real complaints. Yeah, like that was huge for me, because this time last year, I'd never even ran 5K before. So yeah, that's mad. I think it's a couple of weeks' time will have been my first 5K a year ago.
Wow. And it was Manchester half, right? You did a few weeks ago?
Yes.
Crazy. From barely finishing a 5K to smiling round a half marathon, I'll add as well. Cos, how about you then? So what was that process like initially?
Yeah, it was painful initially, not physically, just very tedious. And I think I'm probably a bit more of a rebel than Tia, so I just kind of think in my head like, this isn't doing anything, like just sack it off. But I stuck with it and I did every single one, and I started to enjoy them, because what I realized was so I did do some kind of running, very ad hoc, just like more for enjoyment and general fitness. But what I found was I was exhausted after the runs and also the days after. Like I had no social skills for the rest of that Sunday if I'd done a long run. I could barely speak. And I thought that was just part and parcel with running. And then I slowed it all down, and it was so nice. I could think when I was running. I'd listen to a podcast, I'd make some notes. So productive, which is efficiency is my middle word and middle name. And then for the rest of the day, I felt fine, and my recovery was so much easier, meaning the week ahead training wise was more enjoyable and more doable. And then fast forward a few months, my pace has increased. Like my Zone 2 pace is significantly faster, and yeah, you can really see the difference, but you just have to trust the process. And it's like delayed gratification, isn't it? It sucks in the moment.
Yeah, it really is that, and that's a similar thing you get with taking any sort of supplement as well. We've had this chat before, like a creatine, or even more fundamental, like a vitamin D or something like that. You're not going to see day-to-day changes in how you feel, or in how you look, or how you perform. You've just got to trust it's really good for you. And at some point, there's going to be evidence that it worked. And that's the hardest thing, I guess, with something like Zone 2 in particular, but just generally following a program. Day-to-day progress might not be massive, but month to month is where you're going to see the big change. Pretty hard though, isn't it? Just investing, like you said, when you're questioning it, when you're bored out of your mind, when you look silly on a treadmill.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Tia said she should have a sign on the back of her that says something like, I'm doing my Zone 2 run, so everyone knows. I think I called it the other day. What did I say? Like, it's the death of the ego. Like, you just have to leave the ego at the door and get it done, and then you will reap the rewards.
Yeah,
it did make me realize as well that I don't hate running as much as I thought I did. What I hate is running fast, because that's where it feels uncomfortable. Actually, when you do slow it down, it's not as bad.
Maybe you're a marathoner. Yeah, maybe deep down.
Maybe you are. I was
just like running.
Don't, because this is what will get me to sign up, because I'm already sold on the like 1% stuff. Like, that makes me want to do it. Don't egg me on, because I'm very easily influenced.
I'm pretty sure I got an email about the Manchester Marathon opening up some more spots next year.
Yeah, it is. Maybe. Yeah. I've thrown my hat in the ring for a couple of European ones.
There we go. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up in about 4 minutes. So let's talk about the weekend. So we're doing Birmingham. We're doing doubles. We've done a couple before. How are we feeling in general? Obviously, you've done one, so you kind of know what to expect. Is that helping? Is that making you even more nervous?
I'm so excited. I want to see like how we do now that we've put some like solid work into it. I'm really excited to see like what that looks like, the difference with how it feels. I think having done it before helps, because it's like a pain cave. Your brain's telling you like to stop, and it's being able to push through that, knowing that your like mind gives up before your body does, and like knowing that feeling already, but now going into it feeling fitter than before. Like, I just want to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So similar. I'm really excited. I'm still nervous that I feel like I haven't done enough work, but that's just my personality. Like, I always want to do more. But it's also the beginning of our race season. So for me, I'm treating it as a bit of like a warm up, and it's like after that day, you get so excited because you instantly want another one. So knowing that we've got 2 more to look forward to in the bag is great. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to putting everything to work.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well. Like, I don't think you'll ever feel fully ready for something like this, because realistically, you can always improve. You can always be fitter, stronger, faster. So I don't think there's a point where you go, this is it. Like, this is peak. I think, again, that might be my personality, that I think I can always improve. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever go in thinking like, yeah, 100%, like this is the one. But I feel in a better position than I have for previous ones.
Yeah, definitely. I was terrified before my first one. I got a bit sick. Work was really busy, and I just ended up not doing anything for like the 3 weeks leading up to it. And I thought I had ruined it all. And I was really nervous that I had told people I was doing it, and I was going to turn up on the day and everyone's going to be super fit, and I was going to be the last one, and all the stuff that goes around your head, especially because I'd not done one before. And then I turned up and I was like, even if I was last, no one would know, because everyone's running different races at the same time. And everyone's there, like every shape or size, like everyone's got a different reason for being there. And when you realize that there's like 50-year-old women doing it, it's their first ever like piece of physical activity for years, and it's such a nice community. There's all of that side of things that I think you don't see online, because it's still quite athlete based, and it's still such a growing sport. You don't see it like you would see like the London Marathon, where everyone is giving it a go and it's just them competing for themselves.
Everyone's so supportive as well. Like, you've got random strangers cheering you on. It's lovely. Like, I think one of my biggest fears was that the running track, that there was going to be people flying past. But actually, when you're running, you don't know what the other people on the track are doing. You could be on your first lap, someone is on their 8th lap. Nobody is paying attention to you. Like, no, like you can't tell where someone's at in their race.
Mhm.
And actually, like, everyone's so focused on getting through it themselves that nobody is judging you. Like, we trained in a gym where, like, it's kind of like lots of athletes, and I expected to turn up and it be like that and it feel intimidating, and it was the complete opposite. And like, that was such a relief when I got there and was like, oh, okay, like this is great. This is just a nice atmosphere. Like, it's loud, there's music, it's fun. It's not the Olympics. Like,
Yeah.
it is just a real good day out.
Yeah, it's so easy because you are you, thinking about you, to think that everyone else is looking at you and judging you and watching you. What's really hard to do is stop during the race and look around, because obviously you're trying to race. But if you did do that, you'd realize that absolutely no one is looking at you.
Do you know what, though?
Everyone else is in their own race. All the spectators are cheering you on, regardless, like you said, Cos, whether you're a 60-year-old woman doing the first race you've ever done in your whole life, or you're an elite 15 trying to break the world record. Like, everyone's just cheering you on because you're trying.
I stopped. Well, I didn't stop. I swapped with Coralie on the rowing in Glasgow. Turned to the side of me. There was a woman doing Hyrox, fully pregnant. Like, literally,
Wow.
everyone's like, all types of people, all like, yeah, crazy.
That's awesome.
That blew my mind at the time.
I bet. Cos, you said something awesome earlier on and then just alluded to it again. So this is not your not your last Hyrox this year. So for you guys, it's a bit of okay, where are we at the moment? It's not the very last race you're ever going to do in your life.
Yeah.
So although it's really important to you, you want to do really well, you're seeing it as a little progress checker. Where are we at? What's going on? We're going to learn from it, and then we're going to use that learning in the future. And that's really hard, again, to get your head around just in general, because you've been training for this thing for the best part of 4 months now. And as we get closer and closer to the race, you naturally put more emphasis on it. But the reality is, you're going to do another race. It's okay if it doesn't go as you wanted to or as you dreamt of, because you're both fitter, stronger, way quicker at running than you were 4 months ago. And it's okay. Life will go on.
Yeah, definitely. If anything, it kind of, I find that I hold myself back because I don't want to absolutely like collapse and black out or something. But because we've got a couple, I don't mind if I do.
I'm panicking if you pass out. If you pass out, I would have passed out before you. So
please do not pass out. Not be fun at all. Yeah, one thing we've been talking about in the hybrid group recently is there is a very big difference between being good at training and being good at competing. And when you go to the race at the weekend, your performance is a really good reflection of how good you are at competing, like how good you were at tapering, how great you felt on the day because your training's been structured and progressive, but you've been able to recover from it. You've eaten well that day. You slept really well the few nights beforehand. Your nutrition has been great in the lead up to it. You haven't just suddenly come on your period the morning of. Like, all the ducks have aligned for you to put in a really good performance. That's a test in itself, but it's not reflective of the fact that you are, as I said, fitter, faster, stronger. You feel more confident and all that other stuff because you didn't have nerves when you're in the gym. You just cracked on and did a day's training. But on the day, when you get shoved into a Red Bull tunnel, blaring Greatest Showman music, you're all hyped up, you're going to be nervous. And that adds a layer of difficulty, should we say, to things.
Yeah, it does. And I think the first time you do it, it's really hard not to get overexcited. I'd done 10,000 steps before I'd started. My heart rate was like 120 on the start line. I had come up and then crashed. It was horrendous. I did everything wrong that morning because I didn't know what to expect. And yeah, there are so many external factors that you can't really plan for. And it might be your travel down there. It might be your sleep the night before. It might be like family commitments. trying to find everyone losing everyone in the venue, all these things, like they all have their little impact that you just can't really prepare for. So yeah, just go into it, enjoy it.
Good stuff. Okay, last question. Should all the ducks align? Should we have the best day ever? What are we hoping for at the race? So we've got a time in mind. A world record. Here we go. We'll stick to that. We are coming for you, Kelly. Megan, watch out. Okay, ladies, that has been... Go on, Cos.
What are we? No, we've got a target time. I want to say it.
It's not a world record.
You're not putting it out there.
Is it what? Is it? It's 110, I think.
110, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've got two, one for open and one for pro.
Yeah,
so
110 for open, 115 for pro. They're like both ambitious targets, but we wanted to go ambitious.
Yeah, so floated between 110 and 115 for the last 4 months, and we keep getting confused as to what time is relevant for what division. But as long as it's between those two numbers, we'll have a big smile on our face. Okay, ladies, that has been an awesome chat, 40 minutes in the making. We are going to catch up after the race to hear how it all went and what's up next. So we will speak to you again very soon. But for now, have fun at the weekend. Make sure you stop and have a little look around, and good luck.
Thank you.
Nice one. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers.